basketball's not going to stop your girl from being a girl. I still dress like a girl. It's not going to stop your girl from having kids. I have a kid.
Welcome to Deeper Conversations with Wilma. Beyond what you know.
It's a delight having you this morning. We have known Arek Deng as someone who's very influential, but someone might want to know more about who Arek Deng is. What would you say?
Speak to her and get to know her. I think that's the best way possible. I think somebody who operates from a place of passion.
Okay.
Everything that I do, I think I do it because of the love that's connected to it. I think all my work is passion driven, is purpose driven. So in a nutshell, I think that's who she is.
Okay. There is more that we can learn from Arek Deng if we get to understand her journey as a child growing up. How do you describe your childhood?
Amazing, incredible. I think a journey is made of challenges. It's made of it's made of happy moments, and is made of accomplishments. And I think that holistically gives you an amazing journey, because everything, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, you learn something from. I'm one of 9 children to my mother, one of 17 to my father. So I grew up always around care. I'm the 7th child to my mother.
Okay.
So therefore I have older siblings who have influenced me in every single way possible to be who I am today. I have sisters who carry the softer side of me, and then I have brothers who bring out the hard side of me. So I thought I was always one of the boys when it comes to basketball wise. And then the girls are really my solace, they advisors, they carers, they protectors in so many different ways. So I've been able to really have that upbringing, and I think through all my wins and losses, they've always been by my side. They will carry me through any and everything that I'm going through, and they give me that energy. So not to take anything away from my parents are my parents, and they are incredible in so many ways. So I think I resemble my father in terms of the academia part, and the outspoken part, and the opinionated sassiness that comes with it. But also from my mother is the caring part. They always want to give to people, they always want to give back. And I think in a nutshell that really creates who I am today. Yeah.
You are the CEO of Arek Deng Foundation. How do you describe that responsibility?
Impeccable, incredible, worldly in so many different ways. I think that journey is allows us to do things that benefit our people. So since the inception of the foundation in 2005, while I'm still in university, we really dove into what is it to serve the people of Southern Sudan at the time. So what's been so amazing about this journey is we are able to sit down and come up with ideas that are heartfelt and informed from the people themselves. So everything that we do is always connected with the people of South Sudan, whether it be the Deng camps, whether it be the South Sudan Unite that we did in the UK, in the US, whether it be all the programs that we do here, whether it's giving back, rebuilding something. The beauty of it is there's no bureaucracy. It's creation, and it's creation from love, and I think every single person that we have come across to work with since 2005 to date has literally worked with their heart and given everything that they have. And it's not always the makeup of Arek Deng or Luo Deng. It's literally the makeup of the people of South Sudan, whether they're in diaspora or here, who give their time, their effort, their love, and give it with all their heart. So others from from our country can benefit from it.
Observing your journey, you also have a history when it comes to basketball. What motivated you to pursue a career in basketball?
My brothers, literally. So my oldest brother Deng was the first to start playing in the family. When we were in Egypt, that's where the love of basketball really caught on. So in Egypt, we lived in Alexandria. In Alexandria, we went to the church. Church had a court, a basketball court there. All the guys played at first. Eventually, the girls started playing too, but it was a way of us being together. I think sport and Nadi Sosa and all of these things have served us, being really well, because it brought us together and we had a purpose and we had something to continue to uplift us. So that's how I started playing basketball. And then,
Your brother Lual Deng is known as one of these very great gentlemen who brought unity to South Sudan. How did he influence your journey?
How did he influence my journey? By being my little brother, I suppose. I think when it comes to basketball first, the influence has come from Deng and Joe, who are older than, and Akwe, who are the three older than me and Lual. Lual follows me. So we started playing basketball and going to that. With Lual, I think our journey is so interconnected, because when I wanted to go to school in America and go to boarding school, and I think there's a clip of him talking about this, somebody sent it to me the other day. He came to the same school because he thought he's coming to take care of me. But we went to the same boarding school in the USA and left our family in the UK. So we became instantly closer and kind of always figure out ways to work hand in hand. He knows how to deal with my stubbornness. I know how to deal with his stubbornness. We know how to challenge each other in so many ways. So I think the influence also comes from that. But being my younger brother, he's also influenced me in the way that he works hard. In anything that he pursues, he puts in 1,000%. So when Lual decided that basketball is going to be it, because he used to be a football player.
Okay, he used to be a football player.
Yeah, a very good football player. But then height took over, just like that. And that year when he decided it's all about basketball, it was all about basketball. He would wear a weight vest to run to school and run back from school, while I'll carry his book bag and bring it back home. But his work ethic was always above and beyond. Lual Joe is the most talented in our family, and we knew that Joe was going to the NBA. Lual went to the Joe had injuries, unfortunately, and didn't make it to the NBA, but made it to the highest points of college basketball and won championships and so on, and went to the White House and met with President Clinton. So we already have that set stage already in the family. But Lual also, with his hard work and dedication, he would give 1,000%. So when Lual played in the NBA, he literally had no time to play. To do other things. That's what I mean by playing. He didn't party. He didn't do all of the other crazy stuff people perceive NBA players to do. He was 1,000% dedicated. So when he said he's going to run for president of South Sudan Basketball Federation, he literally said, I'm going to do this and change the narrative. And that's what he dedicated himself to do. We never doubted it.
And here today, South Sudan, the 64 tribes, is united and having a common goal. South Sudan, or the society that we live in, find it so hard to allow women or girls to exercise sports. What do you think about that?
I think it's conversational. I was allowed, but of course I faced challenges. Even in the diaspora, I faced community members who would call my mother and say, why would you let your daughter do that? What I would say is it opens doors. I'm here, I'm sitting where I'm sitting, and I think people only see the work that I do with the foundation. I worked with world leaders, I worked with countries, I worked at the London Olympics, I worked in the Prime Minister's office of Dubai creating new programs. I've worked in Sierra Leone, in South Africa, in China, in Turkey, and I do a lot of different projects internationally. I sit on boards. I'm a board member of a couple of organizations. One of them is in South Africa, and I'm going for a board meeting next month. And all of that happened because I played basketball. And what I mean by that is my high school scholarship in America was paid for by basketball.
Okay.
My university degree, my bachelor degree, was paid for on a full basketball scholarship. I played Division I at the University of Delaware, and I was an honors student. I also, because I've played basketball, I had my master's degree all paid for by basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I am, because of basketball, I just dribbled the ball. I knew that I was always going to be an academic, and I wanted to do all of these great things. But basketball paid for all of these things, and it taught me confidence. I can sit up straight. It taught me to love my height as a girl. It taught me to be able to compete with men, even on the ground. And my brothers played a tremendous role in that, because they let me play basketball with them. They didn't say, "Oh, she's a girl, she can't step on the court." It also taught me how to deal with issues and problems and things that I face. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is basketball's not going to stop your girl from being a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I still dress like a girl. It's not going to stop your girl from having kids. I have a kid. It's not going to stop her from getting married. It's not going to stop her from being beautiful. This whole idea that, oh, she's going to be masculine and all of this stuff. There are things that I'm masculine about. I'm not going to lie about that. However, you're still a woman. You still have your softness. You still can you can finesse your way through things, but you can carve your whole future because you dribbled a basketball. And 95% of college athletes in the US who go to school on a basketball scholarship, females, are CEOs or professionals in other careers than sport.
To a young girl who's going to watch this, who's very talented when it comes to sports, but because we come from families that do not motivate us or look at the talents that we have, how do you encourage that young girl to pursue the interest she has towards sports?
I always tell my girls here at the University of Juba, the Deng Academy girls, I think I've spoke to a couple of them a couple of weeks ago, do your part. Instead of them motivating you, you motivate them. So you don't just say, now I'm a basketball player, I'm not doing any of the housework. Do the housework because it's going to benefit you later on. Be home on time, but also invite them to come and see you play. Show them the benefits of that, but also show them that now they've taught you all of this finesse in terms of, I can do my chores. So, Mom, I have basketball tomorrow from 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. Can you allow me to go? But in the morning, I'm going to get A, B, C, D done. And whatever I don't do, I can do it afterwards. If you start showing that by example, they will let you go. The problem is some young people, not only girls, boys too, they can say, I'm going to basketball. Then they leave the house from 3 p.m.
They go somewhere else. And
then we finish practice, let's say 5:30, 6 p.m. And then the parents are telling us 10 p.m. these kids are not showing up at home. We give our kids letters to take home.
Okay.
We have to communicate with the parents. We give them letters, but we also have open door policy for the parents to come and talk to us, so we can give you the schedule. We publish our schedule on our social media also, so you know what days girls practice and what days minis practice, because we have under 13. So I would say to the young girl, the work starts with you. You really have to put your foot forward too in showing what it is that you benefit from, but also continuing to take care of the things that you're supposed to take care of. It's beneficial. I know that in the 21st century, it's like, girls and boys doing cook and there's no roles. There's roles.
Now let's look at Arek Deng behind the doors, not being a CEO, not being a public figure or an influencer to the next generation. Who is she? What does she do? What does she love to spend time on?
Laughter, dance, music. I think I love laughing. Even with my young staff or in our office, we could pop up the music at any time and just laugh and dance. It's really important to be lighthearted in the things that you do, and also to connect with people, no matter what the generation is. So I think I love people, regardless of anything positive or negative. I think you always have to look at the heart of the people. I love supporting my own people. I am so super pushing everything South Sudanese. I will root for my people. I'll root for every black person. I root for every African. I root for every woman. I think behind closed doors, I am always thinking of what can we do to make ourselves better? How can we have those heart-to-heart conversations? How can we support each other in our journeys? Because there's a lot of mental health going on, but it's normally not mental health. It's because we are so guarded now behind screens.
Yeah.
That's the difference between our generation and the generation before us. Generation before us didn't have so much screen, so they talked. People talked about what's ailing them. You didn't hold back and read a quote on Instagram and then you closed your door and cried about it. You called a friend, or you went to your sister or your auntie or somebody in the house and had a conversation. So it's really important for me that I'm transparent. I'm an open book. There's nothing that you can hear directly from me about you. And if I see you, your crown is not fixed, I'll fix it for you.
Talk now, girl.
And if I gotta knock it off because you're not wearing that crown correctly because you don't deserve it, I'm gonna knock it off.
I think that's a very good point. You understand? We girls, we are naturally born with this beefing type of a spirit sometimes. It's hard sometimes for a girl to fix another girl's crown. Why do you think it's important to stand for each other?
I think it comes with you being wholeheartedly content with who you are. Once you're content with who you are, you wouldn't see anybody else as a full competition in the sense that they're going to move you out of your way. Do you speak up? Even if you share an idea and somebody else starts it tomorrow, they're never going to do it the same way you can. And it's not because you're full of yourself. It's because you are sure of yourself, but you also believe that there is enough space for all of us to exist and still help each other. So if me and you have the same business and you come and ask me a question, I'm not going to be guarded back and say, I'm not giving her that question. I will tell you from A to Z what it is that we do. Because more of us doing the same thing is more beneficial to the world rather than us fighting about it. So I think more conversations will help us do that and not pin ourselves against each other.
And the space is enough for all of us.
It's a huge space. It's a huge landscape that we can work from.
And with that, every journey definitely got challenges. What do you describe as your hardest moment that you had to do a lot to come out of?
Loss. I'm transparent about that in my social media. I lost my husband in 2019. I lost my nephew in 2007. Loss is definitely always, and I've just lost my cousin a month ago. So loss is the hardest thing to ever deal with. But for me, the hardest part of my loss of my husband is my son's loss of a father at such a young age. So then it's questioning myself every single day. Am I raising him to be a man, or am I doing what his father would have done for him? That is the hardest. I think people also always look at widows and think, oh my God, she's lost a husband.
But it's deeper than that.
My child has lost a father, and for the rest of his life he's going to go through the journey of life of people always reminding him that he lost a father, rather than telling him he should be celebrating his father's life, be his light. But also that he's capable of doing so many things, because I think we have this stigma in this country or in the world as a whole that fatherless boys don't get opportunities. So me, I'm going to be that father. I'm going to open every door that I can for him. And he's the reason I have to work as hard as I can, so he knows that he would never need for nothing. But then when I work hard, I can't be the full-time mother that I need to be. So then you always, so the hardest part of it is really and truly, you're always going to feel guilty.
Right.
As a single mother or a widowed mother, because single mothers with living others can at least have that to bounce back, or at least throw that rope every once in a while and be like, yo, you need to be here for your kid. But my kid doesn't have that. He has uncles who are amazing humans, who are always going to make sure he's going to get from both sides, that is. But then as a mother, you still have to always question yourself.
I believe his soul is resting in peace, and he's watching every step that you're taking to make sure that you stand as a mother and a father at the same time. I come from a background of having a single mother, and I did see how much my mom did a lot to provide for school, for health and feeding and all that. So acting as the mother and the father at the same time, what have you learned through the journey?
That you can do anything you put your mind to. That you are capable. That you shouldn't feel bad for yourself. You know, single mothers don't have time to feel bad for themselves.
Right.
But I've also learned that it's okay to be vulnerable. I'm not one to cry. Like now I want to cry, but I'm not one to cry in front of people.
It's okay sometimes.
But it's okay sometimes. Yeah. Pat yourself in the back. Figure out how to pick up yourself. But your life didn't end just because your husband's life ended. Women have to always remember that. Because in this country we were made feel like we were just a property. And therefore, when your relationship ends or when the other dies, people want you to feel that you should have died with them. But then there's kids who are going to be victims of that. So you would always see that single women just get it done. And you're doing an amazing job, mama. Like, I want every single mom to know you're doing such an amazing job. Applaud yourself every once in a while.
Speaking about people and sometimes them interfering sometimes into concerns that they don't understand, how do you deal with negative opinions of others?
I laugh. I thank them. Because you learn something from it. The thing is, if you look at things that are said to you as always negative, then you only perceive it in a negative way. Sometimes there's lessons in it. There is big lessons in it. I remember there was a lady, because it took me a while to have a child. And I don't hide how I had my child. I had my child through IVF, right? So I remember I was in America, and one lady who happens to be from the same area as my husband, no relation, just says to me, it's because you played sports that you're not able to have kids. So at that point, I see your face. Okay. So at that point, I have to make a decision of how I'm going to approach this. I can be mad and just be like, and cry about it. So I said, you know what? She doesn't know any better. She probably thinks she's right. So the first thing I did is I said, Auntie, I'm grateful for you actually opening this conversation up, because many people might be thinking it and they don't say it. So the fact that somebody actually takes the time to say something to you, maybe see where they're coming from. Maybe she just didn't have a better wording of dealing with it, or maybe you can just disable her. So for me, sometimes it's like, I'm just going to disable how you're approaching me. Yeah. So I'm like, thank you. And she's like, what? It's like, thank you. She's like, why are you thanking me? I said, because you had the courage to at least have this conversation with me. So I have to thank you for at least opening the conversation rather than just keeping it on the side. So she was like, okay. She's like, I was like, yeah, it's okay. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. And then I can explain to you maybe where I'm sitting from. Because you're making an assumption. But that's okay. So when she met me, I think a year and a half later, my son was already 6 months old. But she didn't know. We were at an occasion. My son was upstairs sleeping. And we're just sitting there. And then somebody says, where is your son? Because I didn't go up to her and be like, oh, I had a son. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
You didn't do that.
So I just sat there and I'm looking at her and I'm watching her moving and she's still like, so you're still with that child? I said, yeah. And that's me just playing with her emotions at this point. So somebody else says, Aric, where is Matt? And she's like,
his name is Matt?
Matthew Bier, but we'll call him Matt.
Okay.
So she's like, what? So the lady was like, yeah, Aric has her son is sleeping upstairs. She's like, you didn't tell me. I was like, I wanted him to wake up so I can surprise you because your advice made me have him.
That's pushed me. And that's it. If we are to learn from people's opinion, I think we do achieve more instead of getting, angry, wanting to have a fight.
Yeah.
I think we've learned something today. The next time that you have a challenge or someone approaches you with a negative thought, I think you can learn from that. We have heard from you about the struggling moments that maybe you went through. What makes you proud today? What do you look at today and feel like it's worth it? The journey wasn't bad.
Yeah. It took me a while to actually be proud because I'm always looking at what I can do next.
Yeah.
And it takes meeting people like yourself and other people always reminding me and saying, you're a role model. Or a young girl in England messaged me about the impact I had in her life as a basketball mentor and a basketball idol. Didn't know that. So I think what makes me proud is wholeheartedly having a life with purpose and the godly gifts that I've been given as a visionary to just, even when I talk to my staff, sometimes they're lost because I grab ideas from the earth, where as we're talking they're just doing that, and I'm grateful for life. That's what makes me proud. I'm proud that I'm here. I'm proud that I have the journey that I have the family that I have. I have amazing nieces and nephews in both sides of the aisle, which are just incredible. I'm in the 20s with nieces and nephews, so it's incredible to also watch journeys of people around me. So I'm just proud wholeheartedly of the life that I've been presented with.
Being part of the journey towards victory, towards hard work and trying to put South Sudan on the map, what do you have to say about the national team and you being part of all that we've been going through to make sure that South Sudan is represented? How do you describe this?
I'm a part of the beginning of it,
yeah.
Right? But there's been so many people that have been part of it.
Yeah.
There's been so many players that have been part of it. I think people look at the journey now and you look at the 12 that went to the Olympics, but the 12 that went to the World Cup has other people that didn't go to the Olympics and they were part of that journey. The ones that won the Afro basket, the ones that played that first game at Nyayo Center in Kenya are part of that. The administrators, the positiveness and the negativeness, all of that makes the journey. But the most beautiful part is we are at the beginning. There is so much more to come out of this if we all cultivate it correctly. It always comes back to the groundwork that gets done correctly, because now the movement is we need to look at the whole country. There is a kid in a village somewhere right now who's probably 13, 14 years old and already is 6'5", 6 foot.
I think he trended on Facebook sometime.
There's so many of them. What I mean is there's so many of them, boys and girls, that we need to then set the stones for what the future will look like, and then do the right things, get the right finances, the investors and all of these people into the sports, and not just basketball. The basketball is the start. South Sudanese are so beautifully made by God that we can succeed in so many sports. And for somebody who worked in the London 2012, I see us in every single Olympic and Paralympic sport. You see, with these long arms of mine, if I was a person living with disability, sitting volleyball would be my sport. Because who in the world is going to get a ball past those hands? You know, so there is so many. The world is our oyster in sport and in so many other things. Because I believe, and maybe I'm biased because I'm South Sudanese, I believe that we are the most talented humans on this earth.
We are, and nobody can change that. That's definitely what it is today. South Sudan making it to the Olympics is a history that will never be, that will never go quiet. It's something that the world will talk about forever.
I think as much as I'm not surprised, I was also surprised, if that makes sense. I think I knew that eventually we'll be the giants of basketball in the continent anyway, and if the door opens and the bricks are laid correctly, we'll get there. How fast we got there, on the other hand, is a testament to everybody who had a hand in that. The game, and so I was saying that we played for GB. I played for Great Britain women's basketball team, and so did Lowell. Lowell played in the Olympics for GB.
Yeah.
So our first game against GB in the UK was sensational. I've not envisioned that. It was never in my vision of what that may look like, and also the fact that some of the guys that played for GB are part of the Arek Deng Foundation UK. They benefited from Deng camps that we did in the UK. So I had that proud moment. Then you take me 2 days later against the USA. I have no words. I don't think I sat down the whole day. I went up and down the stairs. Everybody who's around me, American or not, got to chant SSD and knew my name by the end of the game.
Yeah.
I was speechless for a change, which doesn't happen often. I was completely speechless. I was so proud of everything that we've done, but I was so proud that we are showing the world what we are made out of. Not only on the basketball court, but off the court, we were so united. And thanks to people like Paul Pierce, who gave that negative talk about what is even South Sudan. Do they have somebody over 6 foot in that country? That helped us. That helped the world learn more about us and who we are and where our hearts are, and how kind we are and how amazing we are, how hard working we are. And I got to see my nieces, my nephews, my son be proud to be South Sudanese. And you can't ask for anything more.
We are about to call it a good afternoon already. If you are to be asked about your message to the young people today, especially the girls, because looking at the journey of South Sudan, girls are usually always behind the light. Sometimes even when they have the chance, they do not have the confidence to embrace the talents they have. What message would you place for them today?
That's a good question, because I don't think I unlocked that. I like being in the background still. I always say when there's pictures being taken, people have to call me to take pictures and all of this stuff. But I think what it is I celebrate you, even if you have to celebrate it quietly. It doesn't have to be loud.
Yeah.
Write down your goals and achieve them. No matter how small the goal is, it's a goal. It's your goal. It's big for you. Do things your way. Don't do things the way the world says that we should do it. Just because somebody is all over the media and it's news doesn't mean you have to be news. Your impact could be small, or it could be big. The big one can be quiet and the small one can be loud. You get to choose where you want to sit, but claim your victories. Write your victories down, claim them, and say thank you when people recognize you for it. Don't try to minimize yourself. It took me all the way to this big age of mine to say, yeah, I did that, and I'm going to do a bit more.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be a loud girl. I think in South Sudan we are told that girls are supposed to speak like this. They're not supposed to be heard.
Yeah.
Girl, you better speak up. You better be loud when you need to, and own your personality. Whether somebody likes it or not, own who you are. And that's the best way to be.
I think parents, especially the mothers or maybe all the sisters, have to play a role in being closer to the growing girls and also notice the talents that they have. What would you want the parents or the older sisters to do to make sure that they push the girls, they bring them out towards their passion?
I think what you have to do as a mother or older sister, or a sister friend or an auntie, is think about how you want to be treated, how you would have wished to be treated.
Yeah.
And approach it from that direction. I think that's the most important thing. Like if you wish that you had a happier marriage, then push your girl to you identify what those things are and communicate them to your girl. If you wish to have been a big lawyer, but you got married too early and didn't finish law school, encourage your girl to finish law school. It comes with also self-reflection. But most importantly too, speak to the men around your girls to encourage them. My biggest encouragement comes from my father. My father told me from the day I could speak that I'm clever. And he celebrates that. He tells people all the time that girl knows what she's talking about. My brothers didn't minimize me on a basketball court. Maybe they tried at first, but they knew I would still show up. So my brothers encouraged me. Even when they played against me. They didn't play against me like I was a girl. They played against me like I was a basketball player. So the role that brothers and fathers play is so huge in the confidence of a girl. And then the backbone support that women give each other to cultivate the space that you wish you would have been in is paramount to them.
You are a great mother, Aric, to growing kids like Matt.
Yeah.
What do you wish them to become? What message do you want to leave to the single mothers?
Allow your kid to be your kid, to be themselves. Matt is an outspoken child.
He is.
Matt will tell you about yourself. If you have something in your face, he would tell you, ew, what is that in your face? But not in a malice way. So it's good to encourage those rather than saying, Matt, don't speak to Wilma like that. Don't speak to Auntie Wilma like that. It's not good.
Yeah.
No, say, there's a nicer way to say that. But encourage them. When you realize what they're good at, push them towards that. Don't try to bring them back. I want Matt to play basketball. Obviously, I want Matt to play basketball because my son is 7 and he looks 12.
Oh.
Right?
He's a basketballer already.
Yeah, but then if he wanted to play football, who am I to say you can't play football?
Right.
Because football might help his footwork later on with basketball. But what if he wants to be an engineer? So I have my dream for him, but he has his dream for himself. So it's important that also you have conversations with your kids and show them by example. So don't tell your kid they should be reading a book while you're on your phone on social media. They want to be like you. So you have to show them who you want them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And with that, it was a great chance having you here.
Thank you.
And I believe that the world will learn more about Arek Deng, apart from just her being a strong figure in the society and
Thank
being
you.
the CEO. There is more that we have learned from you, and we can't wait to have you once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And yeah, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay tuned for the upcoming episode. Thank you for watching.
Discover untold stories, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay tuned for the upcoming episodes.